Hi everyone! In this video, we'll explain what Jmeter is, provide an overview of the main components in the Jmeter interface, and demonstrate several basic practical functions that testers can use in their work. This video is a part of the Udemy course Manual Software Testing Interview Q&A for QA. For more information, check the description below the video. That is, how to install Jmeter, how to create a basic test plan to run your first performance test via Jmeter, how to add thread groups, request samplers, and include listeners in your performance test with Jmeter, how to configure the target URL, method, parameters, headers, and other request details via Jmeter, how to configure thread groups via Jmeter, how to run your first performance test via Jmeter, how to review the test results using various graphs and data from listeners via Jmeter, how to run a performance test with the HTTP request sampler, including the path and parameters via Jmeter. Let's get familiar. What is the Jmeter? Jmeter is an open-source performance testing tool developed by the Apache Software Foundation. It is primarily used to measure the performance and load capacity of web applications and services. Jmeter allows you to simulate various types of requests to the server and analyze how the application responds under different load conditions. Let's answer the first question. How to install Jmeter? To download and install the application on your device, you need to search for Jmeter in the search engine, such as Google. Click on the first link in the search results. You'll be navigated to jmeter.apache.org website. On the left side of the home screen, you will find the download options. Find the Download Releases button and click on it. The Jmeter download page will be displayed. Choose the latest stable version for your operating system, Windows, Linux, or macOS, such as Apache, Jmeter 5.6.2.zip, and click on it. The installation file will be downloaded. Once the download is complete, extract the downloaded archive to your preferred location on your computer. To do that, find the destination folder with the installation file. Right-click on the mouse, find the Extract All option, and complete extraction. To run Jmeter, Java also needs to be installed on your device. Search for Java JDK, Java Development Kit, in search engine. Click on the first link in the search results. You'll be navigated to the oracle.com Java Technologies Downloads website. Scroll down to the Java Downloads options. Find the desired operating system and click on the corresponding link to download Java. The installation file will be downloaded to your device. Then proceed to the destination folder and complete the installation. Once Java is installed, verify Java installation. Open the terminal on your device, such as Command Prompt or Windows. In the command prompt, type Java version and press Enter to verify that Java is installed and configured correctly. If Java is installed on the device, the Java version details will be displayed in the command prompt window. The Jmeter application is now ready to launch. Go to the destination folder with the application. In the extracted folder, navigate to the bin directory. Look for the Apache Jmeter jar, Jmeter.bat file for Windows, or Jmeter sh file for Linux, macOS platforms. Double-click to launch the application. The application launches and the Jmeter home screen will be displayed. Let's take a look at the main navigation options in Jmeter. At the top of the Jmeter window, you'll see the main toolbar, which contains buttons for creating a new test plan, opening existing test plans, saving, running tests, and other common actions. On the left side of the Jmeter GUI, you'll find the test plan tree. This is where you organize your test structure, including thread groups, controllers, samplers, listeners, and other elements. Jmeter consists of various useful different navigation elements. The fundamental navigation elements required to create your initial test plan and subsequently execute your first test are: Thread Group Window. The thread group is a container for simulating users, threads, and defining the test execution settings, such as the number of users, ramp-up period, and loop count. Samplers window. Samplers represent the different types of requests you want to simulate, such as HTTP requests, FTP requests, JDBC requests, etc. And listeners window. Listeners are used to collect and display the test results. They provide graphs, tables, and other visual representations of the performance metrics during and after the test execution. Those elements are mandatory to create and run a basic test plan in Jmeter. Now that we have covered the main navigation elements of Jmeter, let's explore its practical aspect. And the first question is: how to create a basic test plan to run your first performance test via Jmeter. To create a test plan in Jmeter, launch the application by running the jmeter.bat or Apache Jmeter jar files on Windows, or jmeter.sh on Linux macOS platforms from the bin directory of your Jmeter installation. The Jmeter application will be launched. The test plan window will be pre-selected, and on the left panel of the application, the test plan tree will be displayed. On the main screen of the test plan, you will find fields for configuring your test plan, such as the name of the test plan, the ability to leave a comment, add various parameters, and others. Given a name to your test plan, such as Jmeter test, and click on the Save button at the top navigation menu. The Save window will appear. Select your desired folder and save the test plan. Now let's proceed to the next question. How to add thread groups, request samplers, and include listeners in your performance test using Jmeter. In the test plan tree on the left panel, right-click on the test plan and choose Add Threads Users. In Jmeter, a thread refers to a virtual user that simulates a single user's actions on your application or system. Each thread represents an independent execution of your test plan. When you run a test in Jmeter, multiple threads work concurrently to simulate simultaneous users accessing your application. To add thread groups to your test plan, follow these steps. In the test plan tree on the left panel, right-click on Test Plan and select Add Threads Users Thread Group. This action will generate a thread group within the test plan tree, signifying a cluster of users simulating requests to your application. Next, right-click on the thread group and choose Add Sampler. In Jmeter, you can utilize various types of samplers to emulate distinct request types for your application. Some commonly used samplers include HTTP request, used to send HTTPS requests to web servers. FTP request, used to send FTP requests to FTP servers. JDBC request, used to send SQL queries to a database using JDBC. SMTP sampler, used to send email requests to a mail server. TCP sampler, used to send TCP requests to a server. DNS cache manager, used to simulate DNS resolutions. Now, let's add a sampler into the test plan, such as an HTTP request sampler. The HTTP request sampler is one of the most common elements used in performance testing. It represents a single HTTP request to your application. You can use it to simulate various types of HTTP methods like GET, POST, PUT, DELETE, etc. To add the HTTP request sampler to your test plan, right-click on the thread group, go to Add Sampler HTTP Request. This action will add an HTTP request sampler to the thread group. Then, right-click on the thread group and choose Add Listeners. Jmeter offers various types of listeners, and you can incorporate one or more listeners into your test plan based on your analysis requirements. Some commonly used listeners include View Results Tree. This listener displays detailed response data for each sample request sent during the test. It shows request and response headers, body, and other pertinent information. Summary Report. The Summary Report listener offers an overview of test results, including sample count, average response time, error count, and throughput. Graph Results. This listener provides real-time graphs depicting various performance metrics like response times, throughput, and error rate. View Results in Table. This listener presents test results in a tabular format for easier data analysis. Let's include a listener in the test plan, such as the View Results Tree. To add the View Results Tree to our test plan, right-click on the thread group, go to Add Listener, View Results Tree. This action will incorporate the View Results Tree listener into the thread group, displaying the test execution results. Now that you're familiar with adding essential elements to your test plan, let's proceed to the next question. How to configure the target URL, method, parameters, headers, and other request details via Jmeter. To configure the request details, add the HTTP request sampler to your test plan. Right-click on the thread group, go to Add Sampler HTTP Request. In Jmeter, the HTTP request sampler provides various options that allow you to customize and configure the HTTP requests sent to your web application. Configuring these options correctly is crucial for accurately simulating the desired HTTP requests and obtaining meaningful performance test results. Click on the HTTP request sample in your test plan tree. The HTTP request window will open. In this window, you can configure elements of your request. Some key options available in the HTTP request sampler are server name or IP, protocol, method, path, headers, parameters. Server name or IP. This option specifies the target URL of your web application where the HTTP request will be sent. Protocol. You can choose either HTTP or HTTPS as the protocol for the request. Method. The HTTP method for the request such as GET, POST, PUT, DELETE, etc. Path. The URI path of the request. For example, API v1 resource. Headers. You can add custom headers to the request such as authentication tokens, user agents, etc. Parameters. This option allows you to add query parameters or request body parameters depending on the HTTP method selected. Now that we've learned how to customize the HTTP request sampler, let's proceed to the next question. How to configure thread groups via Jmeter. To configure thread groups, in the test plan tree, right-click on the test plan and select Add Threads Users Thread Group. Double-click on the recently created thread group element to access its properties. The Thread Groups window will appear. Inside the Thread Group window, you'll encounter several settings available for configuration. These settings include the Number of Threads Users field. In this field, you can define the quantity of virtual users, threads, you intend to simulate. Each thread represents a user generating requests for your application. The subsequent field is the ramp-up period. Within this field, you can specify the duration, in seconds, required to initiate all the threads as defined in the Number of Threads setting. This establishes the time interval between starting each thread. Following that is the Loop Count field. In this field, you can designate how many times each thread will execute the test plan. For instance, if the loop count is set to 5, each thread will execute the test plan 5 times. Additionally, within the thread group, you can select actions to be taken in the event of errors. These actions include Continue. Start next thread group. Stop thread. Stop test. Stop test now. Now that we've addressed how to add and configure all required elements for running the test plan, let's progress to the next question. How to run your first performance test via Jmeter. To run your first performance test, open Jmeter and generate a new test plan named First Performance Test. Right-click on the test plan within the left panel, then navigate to Add Threads thread group. This action will establish a thread group representing a cluster of users simulating requests directed at your application. On the thread group window, complete the following. In the Number of Threads field, input the desired number of virtual users threads to simulate, for example, 5 users. In the Ramp-up Period field, specify the time in seconds necessary to launch all the threads, for example, 2 seconds. In the Loop Count field, define the number of times each thread will execute the test plan, for example, 2 times. Opt for the Continue option in case of errors. Subsequently, add an HTTP request sampler. Right-click on the thread group and choose Add Sampler HTTP Request. Click on the HTTP request sampler within your test plan. This action will open the HTTP request window. To configure the HTTP request, utilize the web page. Let's use the google.com webpage to conduct our initial performance test. Access the google.com website via a browser such as Google Chrome. Double-click on the URL displayed at the top of the browser window. To complete URL address, including the protocol, will be revealed. Copy the HTTPS protocol and paste it into the protocol field of the HTTP request. Then, input google.com as the server name or IP in the server name or IP field. From the HTTP request drop-down menu, select Get to employ the Get method during the test. The subsequent step is to add listeners for viewing test results. Right-click on the thread group, proceed to Add Listener View Results Tree. This action will append the View Results Tree listener, providing a visual representation of the test execution outcomes. After you've added and configured the thread group, HTTP request sampler, and View Results Tree, you can now proceed to execute your performance test. Navigate to the main navigation menu at the top of the Jmeter interface, locate the Play button and click on it. Upon clicking the Play button, a warning window might appear, indicating not all elements of the test plan have been saved. Click on the Yes button to confirm. Then, click the Save button to finalize the saving process. The performance test case will run. In the top right corner of the screen, you'll observe a progress bar indicating the progress of your test execution. Click on the View Results Tree element within the test plan tree. On this window, you can observe the test results. The upper section of the View Results Tree presents a list of all samples requests performed during the test. Considering that we configured number of virtual users threads to simulate 5 users, time in seconds to initiate threads 2 seconds, number of times each thread executes the test plan 2 times. This means that 5 users will access the google.com website twice within a 2-second interval. Consequently, you'll observe 10 HTTP request test results on the View Results Tree window. Click on your first HTTP request test result. The Sampler Result tab will be displayed. It provides detailed insights into the outcomes of individual samplers' requests executed throughout the test run. Details such as sample label, sample start time, response code, etc. If your request was successfully sent to the server, the icon of your HTTP request sample will turn green. A status code of 200 signifies a successful request. Subsequently, click on the Request tab. When a sample is selected from the list, the bottom left section of the View Results tree will exhibit comprehensive information regarding the request. This includes details like the method, URL, query parameters, request headers, and request body. In our case, the request body tab of the request will display details such as get HTTPS, google.com. Next, click on the Response Data tab. This section will display the response particulars for the chosen sample, including response headers, response code, response message, and response body. Our response will display the HTML code of the google.com webpage. Let's proceed to the next question. How to review the test results using various graphs and data from listeners via Jmeter. Jmeter offers several types of listeners. You can add one or more listeners to your test plan based on your analysis requirements. To review test results using different listeners with graphs, tabs, and other useful analysis components, right-click on the thread group, go to Add Listener, View Results Tree. Next, right-click on the thread group, go to Add Listener Summary Report. Then, right-click on the thread group, go to Add Listener Graph Results. Afterward, right-click on the thread group, go to Add Listener View Results in Table. Once you've added the desired listeners, they will be visible within your test plan tree. Click on the thread group element within the test plan. In the thread group window, provide the following details. Number of threads field. For example, 100 users. Ramp-up period field. For example, 2 seconds. Loop count field, 2 times. Choose the Continue option in case of errors. Then, go to the main navigation menu at the top of the Jmeter interface. Find the Play button and click on it. The performance test case will run. In the top right corner of the screen, a progress bar indicator will display the test execution progress. Once the execution is complete, all added listeners will present the test results including View Results Tree, detailed response data for each sample request during the test, Summary Report, a summary of the test results including sample count, average response time, error count, and throughput. Graph Results, real-time graph depicting various performance metrics like response times, throughput, and error rate. View Results in Table, presents test results in a tabular format for easier data analysis. Let's proceed to the next question. How to run a performance test with the HTTP request sampler, including the path and parameters via Jmeter. To perform a performance test with the HTTP request sampler with the path and parameters, right-click on the test plan within the left panel, then navigate to Add Threads Users Thread Group. This action will generate a thread group representing a collection of users simulating requests for your application. In the thread group window, provide the following details. Number of threads field, 5 users. Ramp-up period field, 2 seconds. Loop count field, 2 times. Choose the Continue option in case of errors. Next, add an HTTP request sampler. Right-click on the thread group, go to Add Sampler HTTP Request. Click on the HTTP request sampler within your test plan. This action will open the HTTP request window. As a reminder, to configure the HTTP request, you need to use the web page. Let's use the google.com webpage once again to conduct an HTTP request sampler with a path. Access the google.com website using any browser, such as Google Chrome. Search for Jmeter and click on the first search result. The search results page will appear. You will notice that the URL address changes to correspond with the search result. Since we are aware that google.com uses HTTPS protocols, add the HTTPS protocol to the protocol field of the HTTP request. Then, add the google.com server name into the server name or IP field. Next, you need to add the path of your request, which is located right after the domain name in the URL address. Copy this path. Return to Jmeter. Paste and copied path into the path field of your HTTP request sampler. The next step is to add listeners to view the test results. Right-click on the thread group, go to Add Listener, View Results Tree. Then, go to the main navigation menu at the top of the Jmeter interface. Find the play button and click on it. The performance test will run. After execution, navigate to the View Results Tree element within your test plan. The Sampler Result tab of your HTTP request sample will display a status code of 200, indicating a successful request. Additionally, by clicking on the Request tab, you'll discover the request body containing the method, protocol, and URL address with the path. If you want to include parameters alongside the path in your HTTP request sampler, return to the HTTP request section within your test plan. Locate the Parameters tab at the bottom of your request and click the Add button. The parameter row will be highlighted. This row consists of the following options for your parameter: name, value, URL encode, content type, and include equals. You can find these parameters within the URL address of your web page, where Q represents the name of the parameter and Jmeter represents the value of the parameter. Return to the Jmeter application and input the Q value into the name field of your parameter. Next, enter the Jmeter value into the value field of your parameter. Afterward, in the path field, insert the path of your URL, which is search. Then, go to the main navigation menu at the top of the Jmeter interface. Find the play button and click on it once more. The performance test will now execute. After completion, navigate to the View Results Tree element within your test plan. The Sampler Result tab of your HTTP request sample will also display status code 200, indicating that the request was successful. Click on the Request tab to review request details within the request body of the HTTP request. You will find the method, protocol, and URL address with the parameter. Click on the Response Data tab. Within the response body, you will find the HTML code of the web page received from the server. To verify the accuracy of the test, you can open this page via a web browser. To do it, select the HTML code of the web page and copy it. Then, on your device, navigate to the desired folder, right-click and create a new text document. Open this document and paste the HTML code of the web page received from the server. The next step is to change the file format from TXT to HTML. Are you sure you want to change it? Window will appear. Click the Yes button to save the file. The text file's format will be now changed. Double-click the file to open it in the web browser. The HTML Jmeter search result page will appear, confirming the success of your test and the proper inclusion of parameters in the HTTPS request of Jmeter. That's all from our side. In this video, we reviewed the main functions of Jmeter. If there are functions that you would like to see and which were not in the video, write a comment or question to the lecture. We hope to see you in the next video.